My name is Aria Voss, and last week my entire life was flipped upside down in a single phone call. It started with my sister demanding my fully paid-off luxury car. Not asking, not even pretending to ask. Demanding. She said it was my responsibility to hand it over because I was the financially stable one. When I told her no, she exploded. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. So wrong. 2 hours later, my dad texted me an ultimatum so cold it didn't even feel real. Sign the G-Wagon over to Lila by tomorrow, or don't ever come back. I stared at that message for a long time. The words didn't move. They just sat there on the screen, burning into my eyes. Then I did the only thing that made sense in that moment. I bought a one-way ticket out of Nashville and started locking down every single account she had ever touched. Old credit cards, shared logins, Apple ID recovery emails, bank accounts she once had access to when we were younger and I was stupid enough to trust blood. Anything, everything. I shut it all down. By midnight, my phone was lighting up nonstop. 37 missed calls, then 42, then 58. And I had this deep, sinking feeling that the worst part hadn't even started yet, because behind those calls was a truth I didn't know yet, a truth so ugly it would change the way I saw my family forever. And once it surfaced, there was no going back. Not for me, not for them. So before I tell you exactly what happened after I closed those accounts, before I tell you why walking away became the only choice I had, make sure to like, follow, and stay until the very end, because nothing that came next was something I ever expected from the people who were supposed to protect me. Let me take you back to how it all began. It was a normal Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting at my desk in the Nashville office, fluorescent lights humming above me, answering emails like any other day. I was counting down the weeks. 19 days, exactly, until I could finally leave for Toronto. That new life I had been dreaming about for years. A fresh start, a clean slate, and my fully paid-off Mercedes G-Wagon. That car was the bridge to that life. Every overtime shift, every skipped vacation, every no I said to dinners out and shopping sprees, it all went into that car, into my savings, into my future. I guarded that title the way other people guard family heirlooms, because to me, it was freedom on wheels. When my phone lit up with Lila's name, I didn't think anything of it. I thought it would be another update about her house hunt, another dreamy message about granite countertops and big backyards. She had been talking about this perfect house for months, never once mentioning how much debt she and her husband had stacked up underneath all that optimism. I answered the call, smiling, expecting the usual, but the second the call connected, the shift in her voice was immediate. There was no hey, no how are you, no small talk, just a smooth, urgent, perfectly rehearsed speech. She described the house like she was reading from a script. 6 bedrooms, pool, top school district. The lender was ready. The seller was eager. Closing date so close she could taste it. Everything was lined up perfectly, except one missing piece. That missing piece was me. She said they were short on the down payment, and she needed my fully paid-off G-Wagon to bridge the gap. She didn't ask. She didn't say, would you consider? She said it like it was already decided, like the next logical step was for me to drive to the DMV, sign the title over, and be proud that I had stepped up for family. The way she spoke, my car wasn't mine at all. It was a shared family resource, just waiting for the right moment to be used. She wrapped the demand in the prettiest language, talking about guest rooms where I could stay, holidays around a table my sacrifice had helped pay for, nieces and nephews growing up in a home I had made possible. But underneath all the warm words, I heard something colder, something that made my skin crawl. I was being cast, again, as the permanent safety net, the quiet solution, the one who gives, so everyone else doesn't have to. And in that moment, sitting under those office lights, phone pressed to my ear, cursor blinking on an unfinished email, something inside me finally broke open. I said no. For the first time in my life, I said no, and the silence that followed was deafening. The word no hung in the air between us like I had just slapped her. Lila didn't speak for 3 full seconds. Then the explosion came. You're seriously going to sit there in your fancy office, driving your stupid overpriced G-Wagon, and tell me you won't help your own sister buy a home for her children? Do you even hear yourself, Aria? You've changed. You're selfish. You're not the sister I grew up with." Every word was a dagger, and she knew exactly where to aim. I stayed quiet. I let her scream. I let her call me every name she could think of, because for the first time, I wasn't trying to fix her feelings. I was protecting mine. When she finally stopped to breathe, I said it again. Softer this time. "No, Lila. That car is my future. I worked for it. I'm not signing it over." Click. She hung up. I thought that was the worst of it. I was so naive. 2 hours later, exactly 2 hours, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from Richard Voss, my father. The message was only 1 line long, but it knocked the air out of my lungs. "Sign the G-Wagon over to your sister by tomorrow morning, or you are no longer part of this family. No, please. No. We need to talk. No room for discussion. Just a cold, final order." I read it 10 times. 20 times. I zoomed in on the words like maybe they would rearrange themselves into something kinder. They didn't. I forwarded the text to my best friend with shaking fingers. Her reply came instantly. "Aria, this isn't normal. This is abuse." I didn't answer her, because deep down, I already knew. Then came the calls. Mom first. Evelyn Voss, her voice soft and trembling like always when she wanted something. "Aria, baby, your father is just upset. He doesn't mean it. But Lila is crying so hard she can't breathe. She says you hate her now. Just do this one thing. For family. For me. I'm begging you." I let her talk. I let the tears come. Hers and mine. But I didn't say yes. After she hung up, the phone didn't stop. Lila again. Dad again. Unknown numbers. Voicemails I didn't listen to. Texts that went from pleading to threatening to scripture quotes about honoring your parents. By 10 p.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I turned my phone face down, walked to my office, and opened my laptop with one purpose. I was going to close every door they still had into my life. I started with the oldest credit card, the one I got when I was 21, and added Lila as an authorized user, just in case of emergency. I hadn't used that card in years. I logged in, and my heart stopped. Recent activity. $7,400 at a luxury home decor boutique. $2,100 at a high-end salon and spa. $1,800 on custom nursery furniture. All in the last 6 weeks. All while she was crying to me about how broke they were. She hadn't waited for permission. She had already started using the life I hadn't agreed to give away. I removed her name with one click, filed fraud disputes on every charge. Then I kept going. Account after account. Password after password. Old shared iCloud. Old Venmo. Old everything. And then I opened the high-yield savings account I barely touched. The one I had been building quietly for Toronto. I clicked into beneficiary settings, and there it was. Primary beneficiary, Lila Voss, set 5 years ago, when I still believed in forever. I stared at her name for a long, long time. Then I deleted it. Replaced it with a women's shelter I had volunteered at in college. Confirmation email pinged, and something inside me settled. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in the dark, watching the missed call counter climb. 58. 63, 71, and with every ring I didn't answer, I felt a piece of the old Aria fall away. Morning came too fast. I walked into work like a ghost. Coffee I didn't taste. Smiles I didn't mean. I sat in the break room staring at a cold mug when Morgan Hayes' email came through. Subject line, urgent. We need to talk today. Morgan never used all caps. I opened it with shaking hands. She had run a full audit after I emailed her at 3 a.m. credit reports, account histories, everything linked to my name or social. The report was 23 pages long. I read every single one. Hard inquiries, 14 in the last 8 months. All mortgage applications in Lila and her husband's name, all listing my income, my assets, my G-Wagon as household resources. They weren't short on a down payment. They were trying to buy a $1.4 million house, using my credit and my car as collateral without ever telling me. Then came the spending patterns, transfers from joint accounts we no longer shared, payments routed through old linked PayPal accounts, thousands of dollars, quietly siphoned over years. Morgan's final note was only one sentence. If you had signed that title yesterday, you would have been legally and financially tied to a sinking ship that has been taking on water for decades, And they never planned to let you off. I closed the laptop, walked to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, and cried silently until my body shook. Not because of the money, not even because of the car, but because the people who were supposed to love me most had spent my entire adult life treating me like an ATM with a pulse. When I came out, my reflection looked different. Eyes harder, jaw set. The old Aria was gone. I went back to my desk, opened a new tab, booked the one-way ticket to Toronto. Departure, 3 days from now. Then I did the last thing. I removed Aria Voss from every single beneficiary designation I had ever made. Every account, every policy, every future plan. I replaced her name with my own. For the first time in 31 years, my future belonged to me. They showed up the night before my flight. All three of them. Richard, Evelyn, Lila, standing in my living room like they still had the right to be there. Dad spoke first, voice calm, cold. "This ends tonight, Aria. Sign the title. Come to dinner tomorrow. We move on." Mom was already crying. Lila just stared at the packed boxes, arms crossed, silent. I didn't sit down. I didn't offer them water. I just looked at them, really looked, and spoke the truth I had never said out loud. "You didn't come here for a car. You came here because the version of me that always said yes is gone, and you're terrified of what happens when I stop paying for your mistakes." Dad opened his mouth to argue. I held up the folder, the one with every fraudulent charge, every inquiry, every lie. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "The G-Wagon is already sold," I said. "Money is in an account you will never touch. My credit is frozen. My beneficiaries are updated. And my plane leaves tomorrow morning." Silence. Lila finally whispered, "You're destroying this family." I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. "No, Lila. You did that the first time you used my card without asking. I'm just refusing to help you hide it anymore." I walked to the door, opened it. "Goodbye." They left without another word. I closed the door, locked it, leaned against it, and smiled. Not because I wasn't hurting, but because for the first time in my life, the hurt was mine to feel, not mine to fix for someone else. 3 days later, I landed in Toronto. Snow falling softly outside the airport window, new keys in my hand, new life ahead. I still get the random texts sometimes. Apologies, anger, guilt trips. I don't reply, because the greatest revenge wasn't keeping the car. It was keeping myself. Like, follow and comment if you've ever had to walk away to save yourself. I read every single one.